guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video. Now, as you'll have been able to see by the title, today's video is going to be my final video of the year. It's going to be kind of a summary, what I've learned in 2019. I suppose in some ways these are tips, they're just valuable lessons that I've learned this year, and mainly in the last 3 months, to be honest. And a lot of these tie in with Move with Soph. Now, I wanted to say on here before we start that the Move with Soph guide is launching now on the 30th of December. You'll be seeing this on the 29th. So it'll be launching tomorrow. I am so excited to finally put this out. These tips really just like tie in with that and what we talk about. It's to do with moving forward and mindset, and I'm just so excited to have you guys in the community. There is going to be a discounted price up until the 6th of Jan, and that's when we all will start the guide together, including me. I'm so excited to get started and just kickstart 2020 in the right way for our mind and just bod in general. I'm going to rattle through these quite quickly without elaborating too much, because you know I like to ramble. There are 19 of them, so let's get on with it. Number 1, situations are often not as bad at all as we believe them to be. For example, I was dreading Christmas Day for weeks and weeks after I had my breakup because of the things that we had planned, and then in the end it was fine. It was absolutely fine. And often you find that with situations, maybe it's like a phone call that you have to make or something like in a year's time, and it's just never normally as bad. So I would say just don't stress about the future too much. We're going to come on to another thing that I've learned about the future. That is my number 1. Number 2, asking for help and delegating tasks has been massive for me this year. I know that I always say on here, and I kind of play it down, I'm so bad with editing, I'm so bad with technology, I'm so bad at business. And I think when we get into these negative spirals and we tell ourselves that we're really bad at something, sometimes it can just make us feel like a failure. What I've done this year is made sure that I have got a photographer. So Alex works with me like 1 day a week to get content that has been so valuable for my time. I have Cam, who's my website designer, and he's done a lot of stuff behind the scenes and taught me about like sales funnels and things like that. And I have hired recently my assistant Amy, who's been great for me. I'm going to come on to money stuff as well and business stuff later on, but I think it's just asking for help in other areas, and for people who have the skills that you don't, it doesn't make you a failure, it just makes you normal that you just can't do everything. Number 3, and some of these things, a lot of these things are still things that I am work in progress on, but it is to try and be less of a people pleaser. Something that I've struggled with all my life is trying to please people, and I suppose in situations and different groups of people, because I am quite good at chatting and I want to make the person feel comfortable, I find that I can lose myself in some situations. I'm not saying like putting on a different accent or anything like that. I'm just saying that I have a tendency to kind of mold into the group, and sometimes I'm like, but what are my thoughts and who am I? So the last few months of 2019, I've really tried to think about kind of my own thoughts, and do I like this situation? Do I want this meal? Do I want to go to that kind of place? Like, am I actually comfortable in this friendship group? So I've really tried to kind of step back and do a lot of self-reflection. Number 4, being alone is powerful. I remember Lucy Mountain messaging me just after my breakup, and she said to me, I know that you don't want to hear this now, but this is going to be a transformational period in your life, like get ready for it. This is going to be amazing. And honestly, I say this to everyone now, it is so incredibly powerful being on your own for a little while and just kind of discovering yourself, just doing your own thing, catching up with friends, like having new friends, forming new hobbies. Being alone is so powerful, and if you have not read yet, and me and Lucy are actually going to see her live, she's called The Sunflower, and yes, her book is called What a Time to Be Alone. It's only like 45 minutes long on audiobooks. I just literally listen to it over and over again. Number 5, and I remember I've said this before, but I just want to reiterate it again, and something that I've learned that is so powerful is that we as humans can be our best selves. We can be quote unquote the perfect person, do everything in our power to be a good person, do everything for people, but we can't control life. And we have to understand as well, and this is going quite deep, but you know I like to go deep, that we are all really complicated people. We've got our own shit going on. Every single person has. So for example, if a person doesn't like you, if a person, for example, on like the dating scene doesn't message you back, that is absolutely no reflection on you as a person, and I want you to just keep hold of that. And I think when you do that, like I have done, it just makes failures just in life and rejections and everything like that just normal. Sometimes it's like a little bit of a punch in the stomach, but it's just a normal part of life that we all have to expect, because you can be the ripest peach in the pack. Is it the pack? Okay, I'm butchering this. It's something about the ripest peach. There are still going to be some people that don't like peaches. There you go. Number 6, I do not like skiing, and I don't like rock climbing either, and I'm not doing it again. I love the scenery in skiing. I love being in the mountains. I love having a glass of wine, but I am not getting on skis. I just don't like it. I think this is more than just skiing and rock climbing. It is about the ability this year and moving into 2020 to say, I'm not doing something if I really don't like it. I will give it a go, but I am not doing something just to please someone else. Number 7, making your bed in the morning is so powerful. First thing in the morning, get your pillows on, make your bed all nice. Honestly, it's that first tick done in your day that is good for you. No one wants to come back home with a messy bed. It's not even just the fact of the bed. The bed's like almost like the symbol in this whole thing. It just makes you feel more together in the morning. I've realised now, since living in London 2 years in January, that southerners are definitely less friendly than northerners. I was so guilty at the start of the year still of like even like bumping into a lamppost and saying sorry to the lamppost. I'm trying not to do that as often, but I find because in the south, especially London, in the towns it might be different, but I never want to get to the stage where I don't say sorry to people. Like I don't give up my seat and I'm really grumpy and I'm pushy, and like I am on a dating app at the moment, and something that really is like a straight up no. It doesn't even matter if they are great to look at, whatever. If they say in their bio like pet peeves, I think it is on Hinge, and it says slow walkers, I'm like nope. No, because I just know what kind of person they will be in the city. They'll be that person who is just like ramming into everyone, huffing behind them, and it's like, you just don't know what anyone's going through. Leave them alone. Number 9, I do love CrossFit. Last year, and even at the start of 2019, I would never say that. I love CrossFit, and I've said this before, I keep on banging on about it. I love it because I just think it's such an inclusive environment. It's with people from all walks of life, loads of different abilities, and everyone's cheering each other on. I think that's why they foster like CrossFit boxes, such like powerful, strong communities within people, because yeah, I just think the workouts are brutal. I think it's made me fitter. I think it's made my mind more resilient. Number 10 is something that I would never thought I would do at the start of the year, but has been so powerful for me. I started to have life coaching, which is kind of like therapy, I suppose. Like anything, it's getting to know yourself a little bit better, and it really taught me the power of journaling, self-reflection, how your past experiences, like all our past experiences, really shape the person that we are and the choices that we make. And that has been the biggest lesson of self-care. I think it's taught me skills for when I come across things, or when I have these fake thoughts in my mind that I'm not good enough or not worthy enough. Number 11, never underestimate girlfriends or the power of friends to lift you back up. When I went through a little bit of a tough time this year, I literally thought, I have been a flaky friend. I don't know if anyone will I can lean on anyone during this time. But honestly, your true friends will always be there. And something that I will say in this, that I have been guilty, which I've really had to work on in the past, that when I get into a relationship, that I just kind of throw my friends away and become a real flaky friend. It's something that I've really had to do some self-reflection on. But I cannot say enough how much it can only be like a select group of friends. You don't have to have hundreds, but a handful of friends that you can count on. Now, if you're struggling with that, there are so many places that you can meet people, and I would just honestly say, put yourself out there a little bit more and do things that are your hobbies. So for example, if you really like working out, go to the same workout class every week. If maybe you go and get coffee in the morning, go to the same coffee shop and sit there for a little bit. I guarantee you see the same type of people, and just talk to people. There aren't many people who will just go ignore you. You know, just strike up a conversation. I just think we need to put ourselves out there a little bit more, and this leads on very nicely, very seamlessly actually, to number 12, that people really don't care about you. And I know that's quite a hard-hitting statement, but bear with me a minute, because this is it's not meant to be like that. But for example, when you fail or mess up, or like I said in what I've learned in number 11, that if you put yourself out there to someone and talk to them, and then they don't contact you back or whatever like that, they're not then thinking about you the next day. If you have put something out there and it's not gone well, if you say fall over in the street, I don't mean like hurting yourself, but just like trip over your leg or something like that, like we all do, those people who see you and maybe have a little chuckle, they're not going to be thinking about it 2 hours later, because they've got their own stuff going on. And this is probably one of my most powerful things that I've learned this year, is people just don't care that much. Like, people closest to you might care a little bit, but still not that much. And I think we just get so stressed about others' opinions, about what they will think, about what they will say. It makes it so much freer in our minds if we can think that people just don't care that much. Number 13, being in the moment. Now, someone actually asked me on my Instagram stories, will you still be doing social media in 10 years? And I was like, dunno. You know, 5 years ago I was still a teacher and had a house in Stockport. I didn't even have Instagram, you know, definitely didn't have YouTube. So in 10 years time, we just don't know. I think more than ever, we don't stay in the same job for our whole life. We cannot plan life. I said that, and what I've learned in my previous bits and pieces on here, we can't plan what we're doing. Particularly, we'll be able to plan next week, we'll be able to be a little bit more organised towards our goals in the short term. We might be able to put plans in place to work towards something, but we can't end for a complete end result in 10 years. You know, I have a husband and 3 children. I don't know. Who knows? Up until very recently, I've wanted to plan. I've wanted to think, right, okay, so 2 years time I'll have a house, two years after that I'll be married, like am I gonna have children? I don't know. Like, and I just think sometimes the beauty is doing everything you can now, obviously working hard and putting steps in place towards what you want to do, and you know, have your values there to be meeting someone, but you can't say, you can't know what you're going to do. And a lot of these things that I've learned is to stop myself getting so caught up on the things that I can't control. Number 14, it's okay to not be okay sometimes. So that sometimes is really key. Obviously, if you're feeling really low for a long period of time, then that's a different story, but it's okay to not feel okay sometimes, because it happens to all of us. We all go through curveballs in our life. We all have days where we just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and I think it's not feeling guilty for that. It's not feeling like a failure. It's not feeling like, what's wrong with me for feeling like this? Yes, you can get to the bottom of the situation. In the mindset journal with Move with Soph, that's a really key thing, because we talk about our emotions in that. But I think ultimately it's okay to not be okay, and the really amazing thing is to know, and something that I read today, I think it was a quote, but I'm not going to say the quote because I'll really like butcher it, but basically to know, if you're feeling a little bit shit right now, it will get better. You won't always feel like that. And moving on to number 15, when I wanted to punch everyone in the face initially who say time is a healer, time is a healer. It really is. I cannot tell you, even in the depths of despair that you might be feeling, that I was feeling earlier on in the year, and it does get better in quite a quick amount of time. Life, it seems to move so fast, like how we're at the end of the year, but then in a short period of time, for some weird, bizarre reason, we can change so much. So much can change. When things inevitably happen to us, then you know that time is always a healer. Number 16, I don't know what 2019 would be without oat milk cappuccinos. They can literally transform your morning. Number 17, saying no to things that you don't want to do is fine. Kind of like the skiing one and the rock climbing, but just in general life. If you don't really want to do something and you don't have to, and you know that doing that isn't good for you, say no. Number 18, even the smallest steps in the right direction is going in the right direction. So for example, we talk about in the magic section of Move with Soph about the tiny little things that we do every day. I was reading James Clear Atomic Habits, and if you think that you are making 1% difference every day, 37 days later you've made 37% difference. Obviously you wouldn't make 1% difference every single day to your life, because that would be amazing and there will be ups and downs, but I think it's the same thing about getting our morning routine right. I know how powerful that has been for me, and it does make a difference. It does make a difference going forward. It does make a difference to our business. It does make a difference to our life. So I would say that when you don't feel like it and you think, oh, this isn't going to make a difference, it won't make a difference in a major way tomorrow, but doing that every day, and even the little tiny things that we put off and that I put off accounts. I know that doing it and doing something is better than doing nothing. This is my last one. Number 19 is having an accountant and also getting a financial advisor. Now, I think as women, we are sort of scared about talking about money. I have always not really wanted to talk about money that much, but quite honestly, it's made me feel sorted in my head, that I don't have to like bury my head in the sand when I don't really know how to put money into a pension being self-employed. And I think doing that in 2019, it's only been a few months ago that I've got financial advisors, has been just so empowering for me, because often we think we have to almost rely on other people, eventually, you know, if something happened to me or if I wanted children. But I think it's so empowering being a female and having your shit together. I really hope you found some of the things that I've learned this year really valuable. I know that I will take so much from this year, and I actually really can't wait for 2020. It's a new decade. I think it's going to be a powerful year. Of course, we're going to have ups and downs. And I think, you know, when people say this is going to be my year, it might not be my year. You just have to do everything in your power to be the best you can be at that time. I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all your support this year, and just for continuing to follow me so I can do what I do and put stuff out there. Again, I want to say I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys on the Facebook community and hearing all your stories of transformation. Like this, I feel like this is my almost like calling at this moment in time. I just want to help as many people as possible, like I've learned myself and how to help myself this year. So I really hope you sign up on the 30th. I can't wait to see you, and until next time guys, happy new year, and I will see you in January. Bye.